Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Weekend Winners in association with BetVictor as we preview British Champions Day from Ascot with all races live on Sky Sports Racing. Rixie, this is going to be a good one.
Yeah, that card on Saturday is just insane. Probably one of the best British cards I've ever seen. So really looking forward to it. But I'm absolutely hating my family at the moment because I've got a family event on this weekend, so I can't go.
Is that why you're not like
yeah, you know, you can. They say you can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family. So yeah, you can choose your race days as well, but on this occasion I can't. So yeah, a bit gutted about that, but you know, love to the family all the same.
At least you can watch it all live on Sky Sports Racing.
Yeah, and I'll get called all manner of names by my old fella when I'm trying to watch the race on my phone or on the TV. So, but look, it doesn't matter. It's incredible days racing. Just gutted I can't go, but I will be watching all of it hopefully.
Be with the family and body. Your mind will definitely be elsewhere, and your spirit will definitely be elsewhere as well. We know one person who will not be there either because they are currently in Gibraltar beaming in. Sam Boswell, well done for still joining us all the same, sir. How are you?
Very well, thank you, Kate. And yeah, I'm coming back this evening actually to make sure I'm there for Champions Day. So no such worries for me because it is an absolutely brilliant card, isn't it? I couldn't book, annoyingly, the Ascot meeting room. I've got Cheltenham behind me here, but it's been an interesting week of action. We sponsored a couple of nice races at Punchestown. Good winners there. But I must say, this card is fantastic from a betting perspective and just from a racing perspective as well. So loads for us to get stuck into. Let's hope we can find some winners.
Hopefully so. And you've got an offer, I believe.
Yeah, we have. I went and bothered the offer guys because I said, look, there's so much going on. It's a brilliant weekend at Ascot. We've got a bet 10, get 50 offer, which you'll find all across the At The Races website, on the app as well. Terms and conditions as ever with this do apply, so do check those out before you get involved. But if you're a new customer, it's certainly worth taking a look at ahead of what looks like a brilliant day's action.
Definitely so. And a nice mention for the website as well there.
Yeah, make sure you go on and check out the website. Really good resources ever. We've got stats guides for all the races done by Paul Jones. Every race we've got a runner guide done by Sky Sports Racing or attheraces.com. Pundits. Look, there's just a mountain of good stuff on there. Stats, trends, tips, replays, you name it, it's all on there.
It is all on there, so definitely make sure to head to the website there for everything you need ahead of British Champions Day. But always, as we say every single week, please do gamble responsibly. Our tips are not guaranteed to win, but we will still do our best to point you in the right direction. Right, we're going to go through every single race. We're going to rattle through these, giving you our selections. Kick-starting with the 12.55, the Qipco British Champions Long Distance Cup. Obviously a Group 1 contest, 3-year-olds and over 2 miles. So the newly upgraded Group 1 contest here, Sam, that we've got to go at. And Gold Cup hero Trawlerman is the hot favourite.
Yeah, on a really interesting card. It is a little bit of a shame we've just got the 5 here, but with retirement of Coltrane, and obviously we lost Kipros at the start of the season, it's understandable perhaps why this division is just a little bit short of potential options here. 1 to 2 looks a short price, doesn't it, about Trawlerman? But then you go through his record, and I appreciate Sweet William got close to him last time they met, but realistically, he's a very, very hard horse to beat. He's always run particularly well, hasn't he, when he's arrived at this race meeting. And we saw him absolutely brilliant in the summer at Royal Ascot. He ticks so many boxes. Listen, it doesn't need me to tell you that he's obviously a favourite that's going to be popular. How short he goes is kind of the debate we were having in the office this morning. I don't think he'll end up much shorter. A few people were asking what kind of distances would you want to play. We're 6 to 5 for 2 or more lengths. I don't think I'd want to take any further than that. Obviously, Sweet William got within a length of him, but he has won by some significant distances before. So that's a market that I know some punters out there like to play. If you think he's going to absolutely smash it, 11 to 4 for 4.5 lengths or more, they're all available on the site, like I say. But Trawlerman, for me, he just should get the job done. But at least we do have the likes of Stay True in here that could potentially emerge as a star into the future at this kind of staying trip.
There you go. And a different way to play this as well if you are with Trawler Man, which I am too. And I hope that the office is correct, that he's not going to get too much shorter than a 1-2 favourite in here. And I'm fully aware I'm being completely unoriginal to kickstart this. But when you've got a small run of field, why would you try and find that each way alternative to fill out, in my opinion, one place for reduced odds? That was Tom Collins, actually, that got that into my head. And that way of thinking from stateside racing is why try and find that alternative when you're reducing your odds anyway for the sake of one place. So rather than just over Trawler Man, maybe those extending lengths odds, looking back at his Gold Cup success, that certainly wouldn't put you off doing that either. So we're both with Trawler Man then. Chuck some originality into the mix, will you, Rixie?
Yeah, look, I think he's short enough now, and hopefully I'll outline a couple of reasons. One, he started the season back in April, we shouldn't forget, back in Dubai, so he's been on the go quite a long time. Two, I think over the Gold Cup trip of 2 miles, 4 furlongs, he's probably, you know, I wouldn't say unbeatable, but, you know, I'd fancy him more strongly. I just get the feeling over 2 miles, he could be a little bit more gettable. The other thing as well, you know, his style of racing doesn't lend himself to having an easy season or easy racings. He goes forward, he's the son of Golden Horn, he pulls, and he doesn't make life easy for William Buick. So with all that in the mix, I'm going to start off the show this week with a sporting play in Stay True, taking him on at the price. So I think these two should be closer together now. Stay True comes here a much fresher horse. He didn't run as a 2-year-old. After he finished second in the Linkfield Derby trial, I think the ground was too quick for him. He might have picked up a bit of a knock that day. He had a good break. He came back then, the Great Voltigeur, as a prep race. And this is him in the St. Ledger behind Scandinavia. And look at him here. He's absolutely mixing it with the Fav here, going to the furlong pole. But look, does weaken out of it a little bit, so, you know, stamina is a little bit of a question, but this was a race run at a good even gallop on ground with plenty of juice in it. Tomorrow's race mightn't be as strongly run, and it's going to be on better ground, and he's a likeable horse, this guy. The other thing I would say as well, he didn't get cover anywhere the whole way through that race under Mikel Barcelona. Not having to go at Mikel, it was a small field, but, you know, things like that just all add up. I think there's enough at the prices to have a little go at Stay True. And look, maybe it's written in the stars. The great Galileo studied the stars himself. This is Galileo's final 3-year-old crop. This is his final chance to get a Group 1 winner with his final crop, and I'm hoping it can be Stay True.
OK, that's a nice little poetic line to be adding on to it,
for people say I'm not cultured, but I can be cultured.
Oh, you're not sentimental either, but there we are. You've managed to defy both of those things in one foul swoop.
Yes, as they say, get you a man who can do both.
As the old saying goes. Yeah, OK then. Well, a bit of originality as well from you as well, Stay True. Sam and I definitely with Trawler Man.
I should say as well, 3-year-olds do have a bad record in the race.
No, you're doing so well. Leave it at that point.
OK, let's cut that bit out.
Anyway, do let us know your own selections in the comments section below as we move on to the 1:30 now. 2-year-old condition stakes for the 2-year-olds over 6 furlongs. First running of this race, and Mill Reef Hero, Words of Truth, another warm favourite for Godolphin, and William Buick, Sam.
Yeah, interesting, obviously, this addition to the card. I mean, we've got so much great racing, I'm not sure it was needed, but let's take a look at it, shall we? And again, when I'm looking at favourites we want to take on, I must say I thought Words of Truth at odds on was too short for all the horses achieved plenty. 5 to 6 for me in a race where there's plenty of opposition arriving here. Some of it slightly more unexposed. I thought that 5 to 6 was just too short for me to get involved. I think if you like the horse, I'd be staggered if you don't get odds against on the day, just a smidge. I don't think it's going to drift wildly, but I think that's short enough. Division for me was the most obvious candidate to try and take on this horse. William Haggis's Kingman is a really nice type, and only beaten the once. That came on debut at Windsor and just took a bit of a bump, I think, that day from memory, and was up against an ammo horse that seemed to certainly have a fitness edge. But there's a lot to like. We're going to see him winning at Yarmouth. This came at a very short price on good to soft ground, but he's got a good record on the sort of ground we're going to get at Ascot on Saturday. We should touch, shouldn't we, how brilliant it is that we've got ground that is suitable for so many of the top class flat horses. But yeah, he won at 2 to 7 this day. The second came out and won an egg and spoon race at Newcastle next time out. So I can't tell you that this form is necessarily the reason to back him. But I thought the York effort that followed, where it was 5 to 2 favourite under Tom Marquand, was a really, really nice win. Had to be ridden out that day. Will definitely get further as well in time. But I really like this horse, and I just thought at 5 to 1, it's a really big price against a favourite that could blow them away here. But I just think at odds on, I'll leave alone. You could even have a really devilish each way play, couldn't you, at 5-1?
Oh, you could. Some may say not, but you've made the cogent case all the same. But Sam, I was actually approaching this race with a very similar thought path to you, where Words of Truth could easily blow these horses away, could easily be too good for them. Would I back him at 5-6? So in a 2-year-old conditions race at this time of year? No, I wouldn't. And I say I don't imagine him getting much shorter than that. I mean, if you can get a little bit of odds against on the day, I might just have that bit of a nibble there. However, same approach as you, where I'm willing to take a chance with Mission Central here. At an each way price of 8-1. There you go. A few more points in this one, where again, do I think he's as good as Words of Truth has shown so far? No, probably not. However, at the prices, I will side with him. Now, of course, he was disappointing last time out that we're looking at here. Sent off as favourite at Doncaster in the Group 2 Flying Childers Stakes over the 5 furlongs. Interesting that Christophe Soumillon, who rode him that day instead of Kansas, who reopposes, has stuck loyal despite Kansas finishing second and Mission Central back in 6th this day. But he just lacked the pace this day on the drop back in trip to 5 furlongs. This 6 furlongs at Ascot should suit him much better, and he can return to the form, hopefully, of his penultimate start when winning a Group 3 at the Curragh over 6 furlongs. So there's a couple of selections to go at in the 2-year-old conditions stakes. Again, do let us know your own selections in the comments section below. 2:05 now at Ascot, the Group 1 Champions Sprint Stakes for the 3-year-olds and over 6 furlongs. Of course, Wathnan look to hold a really strong hand. They have last year's winner, Kind of Blue. Favourite is Lazat. I mean, what price are we going to be getting here on a Wathnan tricast, Rixie?
Well, yeah, they've got a tremendously strong hand in the race, don't they? And look, another race in the sprint division that is bonkers, wide open. So you need to do your due diligence, look at the pace, look at the draw and all that kind of stuff. And I have done that. And I think there's pace in front with Spy Chief in 4, Lazat in 7, Art Power in 10, Inisharan in 12, Quinault in 15, Witness Stand in 19, Big Mojo in 20. I think, although historically you want to be drawn low at Ascot on this card, that's usually on soft ground. We're not going to get soft ground tomorrow. It's good, maybe even tending towards good to firm. So I think horses drawn really low in this year's race are going to struggle. And I'm with a Wathnan horse, but not the favourite. I'm hoping Kind of Blue can go back to back in this race. Now, the start of the season wasn't good because I was maybe reading in between the lines. Why did Wathnan race and go and buy Lazat when they had a horse like Kind of Blue in their midst? And I just wondered, were they not happy with Kind of Blue at the start of the season? And to be fair, it panned out like that. Now, you could forgive in his seasonal debut because a horse got upset beside him in the stalls in France and he was really slowly away. He then went to Newcastle. I was hoping for a bit more, and geez, he was desperate that day as well. And I've got to be honest, I thought he was gone at the game. Then he went to Ireland in the Phoenix Sprint Stakes. I think it was, and showed much more. And then last time out at Haydock in the Sprint Cup, he showed more again. And I just get the feeling he's been building himself up to a peak this on Saturday. I think he's drawn well in 18. There's lots of pace around him, and you know, would you maybe ideally like the ground to be a little bit softer? Yeah, but there's been loads of chat about heavy dews and whatnot, and so the ground, you know, it's not going to be rattling quick. And this is him last year. He was a really good winner. I actually thought I had a small question mark about his attitude last year. It was either his attitude or he was still a little bit weak. And I think, Kate, you and I were both on swing along this day, if I remember correctly. Yes. So I was like, Kind of Blue's not going to win. Soft ground, stiff 6, you know, still a 3-year-old. He's not going to win, you know. Swing along's going to get there. And he ends up and goes and beats us. I thought he was really good and he was really tough on the day. So, you know, my questions about his attitude were wrong. I do apologise, and I just hope he can go back to back under Daniel Muscott, who must be absolutely delighted James Doyle has chosen Lazat.
I also am with Kind of Blue, and I was also dreading teeing up that VT, to be fair, because the pain of last year for me as well with Swing Along. So I'm pleased that you managed to talk about it first, but I'm not going to hold it against them whatsoever, because I'm going to be with Kind of Blue as well this year and hope that James Doyle has chosen wrong with Lazat. I mean, there was such little to separate all 3 of the Wathnan horses, Flora Bermuda as well, who we were just looking at, of course, in different colours last year. So, yeah, I mean, they don't buy badly, do they? However, I'm hoping with Kind of Blue that it is just going to be the repeat of last year again. And we talk about the top level sprinting division in this country and how mental it is. So trying to take on a favourite at any given opportunity feels like a good ploy to do so. So I'm going to be taking on Lazat in this one as well. And of course, we did say that last year was soft ground, admittedly, but that was his first run on soft ground. He travelled so strongly into that race, so he definitely won't be minding the better ground this time around. And like you say, he hasn't been as good this year throughout as he was in the race last year, but I agree with you. It just feels like he's peaking at the right time, what we would anticipate from him. And we see that all the time with these autumn horses. So I'm hoping that's going to be him again.
And is there a better horse bred for this race? He's from the family of the Tinman and Deacon Blues, who have also won this race, and he won it last year. So let's hope that family tradition can continue on Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. Nice bit of bloodstock corner there as well, just to further bolster our claim. So we're both with a kind of blue. Right, we move on to the 2:45 now. The Group 1 Fillies and Mares Stakes for the 3-year-olds and over a mile 4. Now, Estrange missed the arc, so comes here fresh. But a few of these throwing the hat into the ring 2 weeks after running in France, including last year's winner Calandagan.
Yeah, I found this a really, really trappy race.
It's always really difficult.
Yeah, it's just like so many horses have got question marks. Calandagan backing up quickly after a run in the arc where she was a little bit disappointing. Estrange was supposed to run in the arc, then she didn't go, but she supposedly scoped dirty. Is that true, or was it just the case that they hated the draw and wanted to come here? The ground is potentially, you know, maybe getting a bit quicker than ideal for her as well. Warda, I love. Connection to her must be gutted because they were surely hoping to get soft ground here again. So she ran over 14 furlongs the last day in a well-run race on ground with Cutnet. She's dropping in trip. The ground's going to be quicker and she's going up in class. Bedtime Stories has been probably a little bit disappointing given what we did in the Chesham last year. And then we've got another horse there, Joseph O'Brien's as well, backing up quickly. It's a really trappy race. But look, I went with Estrange here just because I'm hoping it was the case that there was nothing actually wrong with her ahead of the arc. And they just said, look, we can't win from that draw, so we're going to come here. Would I like the ground to be softer for her? Absolutely. But, I think good ground, she'll still go all right, to be fair to her. And, I think it shouldn't be underestimated how much she's improved from 3 to 4 this season, because she did win on her final start as a 3-year-old last year in the listed Gilly Stakes at Doncaster. And, she beat Danielle that day. And, coming into the season, I thought, good, solid, listed filly, but she's really taken a massive step forward this year. She won the Leicester Piggott Stakes at Haydock. She also won the Lancashire Oaks when the race didn't fall too good for her. And, that form behind Minnie Hawk now looks really strong and from the Yorkshire Oaks. And we shouldn't forget that was on ground that was clearly too quick for her. Her head came up. She wasn't loving it. A year older, a year stronger, bigger as well. But, I think Ascot should suit her, and this is her here. You won't miss her if you back her, that's certainly for sure. And to be fair to this form at the time, I didn't think Danielle was a star either. She's taken a massive step forward as well from 3 to 4, so there's plenty to like in a really trappy race. I'll go with Estrange, but the slower the ground the better, so just maybe have a look. You've got to do your own preparation, see what the jockeys are saying. Go and stick readings. We might get rain. If any of that kind of falls and they're suggesting there's plenty of moisture in the ground, I'd be keener on her.
Yeah, and you just kind of trust in connections, don't you? Where the fact that they've always had her best interest at heart when it comes to the ground. So if they're not entirely happy with it, then she just won't run anyway. So yeah, I guess you're kind of taking your chance with that. But it's going to be interesting to see on Saturday, isn't it? If we get our kind of horse of the year crowned. I feel like she wouldn't be in the running for that as a factual kind of form guide. However, when we talk about kind of heart horses, I feel she would be right up there for people. And
someone else is getting sentimental today.
Oh, there you go. I know. How can you not about Estrange, though? She's so cool, isn't she? So Rixie's taking his chance on the ground with Estrange, Sam. Who are you with?
Oh, heart horses. That's the worst way to have a thought about a betting race. I'm doing cold, hard bookmaker hat on here. And the front 3 in the betting, as Dex alluded to. I know he likes Estrange. So do I. I backed her anti-post for this race, and I feel like I should tear the docket up. I am concerned about the ground for her chances. I think had we got traditional Champions Day ground, she'd be going off a short price favourite. For me, Calandagan, I know she had that break, went to Kempton, and then obviously all roads led to the Arc. But that was a tough race to bounce back from in basically 2 weeks. I kind of can't have her at 11 to 4. So Wadara would have been on the radar. Again, soft ground needed in my book for her to be seen at best chances. So there were two kind of against the field that I took a little look at. I thought one look was interesting for Paddy Toomey. He's in good form, arriving here, I think like a 40% strike rate, and been busy, this horse. Had a little break through August and the heart of the summer, and then went to the Curragh and finished second, and then Longchamp when finishing third. That was an interesting runner for me. But the one I came down on was actually the French runner, Latico. I thought was a really curious 4-year-old by Frankel, kind of really lightly raced. This horse has only been seen 5 times, I think. Comes back down in trip, having run over 1 mile 6 a couple of weeks ago. I kind of just thought to myself, if there was one at a price, it might just be her. We're watching her in action at Deauville here, where she was a winner. I'm hopeful. I'm very, very hopeful that she can take a step forward once again. That was a Group 2, wasn't it, that day? I just wonder, is there going to be more to come from her potentially? Ground-wise, she's going to be absolutely fine. And I suppose the most eye-catching thing for me was the fact that William Buick was booked to ride, when potentially I'd imagine he'd have been getting a few phone calls from others in the race as well.
Well, you're with one French horse. I'm going to be with the other one in here. I wonder if the French will have another good Champions Day on Saturday. I'm hoping so, but mainly with just Kisisana in here, who's a shorter price than your selection. But she, of course, ran in the Arc last time out when she was bidding for a 5-timer. Fair enough, not bringing up the 5-timer in the Arc. And I don't think she ran too badly in that either, considering she got into a good position early enough, but then she was a bit keen as well. The ground I actually thought was fine for her, which was going to be a bit of a concern from what she had shown previously, and softer going. So I know that she'll cope fine with the ground then on Saturday
I think she wants good ground. She's a beautiful moving horse.
She?
Yeah. I was interested in the Arc as well, to be honest, but I thought the ground kind of was going against her. But yeah, sorry, Kate, here you go.
No, I'm glad that you agree. Yeah, and we're looking back at her now in the Group 1 Prix Jean Romanet, when she was up in grade considerably, but bringing up the 4-timer in the process this day. Now, this was a win and you're in for the Arc, so it made sense that they should take up their berth in the Arc then itself. But she was actually entered for the Fillies and Mares prior to this race. So hopefully Connections have had this not as any sort of afterthought, but like you say, the way that she's striding out there, really, really pointing her toe as well. She should actually appreciate that sounder surface. And of course, it's so hard to get a gauge on what she's been running on in France anyway. But from what we knew from the Arc last time out, she coped with that absolutely fine. And hopefully she can deal with the quick turnaround as well. So Kisisana for me. Again, do let us know your own selections in the comments section below. And whilst you're there, also hit like, hit subscribe, hit the bell notification. You know the score by now, all of the above, so you never miss an episode. On to the 325 now, the Group 1 QE2 for the 3-year-olds and over a mile. Field of Gold, the favourite, despite a disappointing performance in the Sussex Stakes last time out, Deck.
Yeah, look, I can see it. If he comes back to the form that he showed in the St James's Palace Stakes, he just wins. This horse, I think, is a superstar. It's a shame that he picked up a little bit of an injury in the Sussex Stakes. But look at this now. Henry Matisse is a good, solid horse. Look at this. Colin Keane is still pulling double here, going to the 2-pole in a Group 1 at Royal Ascot. And I was a little bit worried about the ground from this day, just because he's such a big horse. Would he let himself down? Boy, did he let himself down. He's absolutely mullered these. And if he comes back to this form, he absolutely wins. And look, I think we've got 7-4 there with BetVictor. You might get a little bit bigger on the day. You might get very much bigger, especially if the vibes about him are wrong. And, if you're backing him, you've just got to see what John Gosden and Thady are saying about him. My rule book with John Gosden is usually the more pessimistic he is, the stronger he fancies the horse. Yeah. So if he starts going on about the ground and the draw and the injury, just have more on. But that's usually how Gosden operates. But, I think Field of Gold will take a bit of beating. Just going on my own ratings here, I had him running to 128 that day, and I've got a whole host of horses, Rosalie, Fallen Angel, who else we got there? Marvel Man, Never So Brave, all in around the 115 mark. I think he's got about maybe 11 or 12 pounds in hand to play with, which is quite a lot at this level. If the Gosdens have got him in good order, I think he's going to take a world of beating. But another way to approach the race as well, thank God Field of Gold is running, because I genuinely think he's a superstar, especially if he comes back to that form. But if you take him out of the race, unbelievable betting race. So there's a couple in here I'd like to approach. Like Rezalian, I think is really interesting. I think just from a price perspective, Declan's with his form at Ascot, he's massively interesting as well. And so is Marvel Man, a horse I really like. But look, I think Rezalian's probably the bet in here. Would I like a little bit better? I think we will get a little bit bigger. I was looking at some of the markets there before I came in this morning and last night. I think a lot of the markets for the Champions Day for all of the races haven't really matured and developed yet. I think we'll get a bit bigger about Rezalian and a few other horses there potentially. And look, you'd like to think bookmakers are going to be falling over themselves. You know, competitive betting market, a brilliant day's race. And so we might get a little bit bigger. But the ideal scenario for me is for Field of Gold to win and Rezalian to chase him home second. So... and if Field of Gold does blow out, I would love Rezalian to get his Group 1 for the season. He's had such an unlucky campaign. But look, it looks like he's drawn right here. I think over a straight mile, he's actually quite good. He's going to get some pace to run at. He's been wonderfully consistent. And, you know, even if he doesn't get his Group 1 this season, I think he'll still be a fantastic stallion.
We managed to get the betting without market made up as well in the graphic. So we know you're happy straight away.
It must mean Sam fancies something without Field of Gold if we're getting it.
Yeah, Sam, is that true?
I don't think Field of Gold is remotely bomb-proof. For all, I think he's a really exciting prospect. And yes, Declan, me being here in the office meant that I did make sure that you had your precious betting without market there for Rezalian at 3-2. We do offer each way terms on that, I should say as well. There's a horse I thought that was interesting. I think we could talk about the favourite all day, but just going through the race, Rezalian for me, yeah, I completely understand Dec's angle there. I thought Never So Brave's interesting as well. Declan's just an Ascot hand in hand, isn't it? But I thought there was a horse, and when it was 66-1, I was a bit more excited. We're paying 4 places on the race. Now 25s with us. Carl Spackler, I just have a sneaky feeling we might see better from this horse. This, we're going to watch back, was his first run in the UK when he arrived straight to Royal Ascot in what was a fantastic race. Rezalian backers look away now, because that's who I was on this day, and it was heartbreaking, wasn't it? But I thought this was a very fair effort for a horse that was possibly still sort of acclimatising, if you like. Next time out, obviously, went to the Sussex, and we all know that race was, I think it's fair to say, a strange race. I'm not sure we learnt too much, and I don't think the track would have necessarily played to his strengths. You know, John and Thady Gosner in good form. Obviously, they now have the horse in their care. William Buick on board, who clearly I'm hopeful is going to have a fantastic Champions Day, considering I seem to be backing multiple horses that he'll be riding. I'll be honest, I wanted a little bit bigger each way, I'd say. 25 is getting a little bit tight now, but there were a few wise guys that have put this horse up, and I could just see yard form. They're ending the season brilliantly, aren't they, John and Thady? I wouldn't be shocked if he can run into a place at a nice kind of price. For me, the favourite, if he's back to his best, will be a good winner, and I'm sure punters will be delighted, because I think they'll get stuck into Field of Gold.
A few wise guys and Sam. That sounds definitely in the wise guy camp, isn't he? We definitely know that
Wise
already.
guys, is he talking about gangsters in the bookmaking industry?
I don't think he's talking about the Nicky Henderson runner anyway, so yeah, there you go. I'm glad, though, that we look back at that Declan's success in the Queen Anne, because I'm going to be with him. I keep thinking, am I completely missing something? Why I'm the only one that's siding with him each way in this, or the betting without market? I think we saw 17-2 about Declan's.
Yeah, I
betting with that Field of Gold.
That's a fair bet.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
When I think Field of Gold is of course the horse to beat, but do I also think he's untouchable, as Sam was just saying there? No. So clearly I'm going to try and take him on here. And when you've got Declan's over his favourite track, his favourite trip, again, he's being discounted. Ground is absolutely fine for him. I just wonder about Rezalian. I actually put him up as my favourite Richard Hannon horse he had trained when we did that feature a few weeks back. But I just am starting to wonder, and it pains me to say, if he is just a nearly horse, where when you watch him in his action, he doesn't look as though he's not trying. But
no, he's got great attitude.
When you just start to get that succession of runs, and
now remember, you did this with Calandagan.
I did. Just.
And you're going to apologise when we do the Champion Stakes.
I wonder though with Rezalian, I don't know if it's just I've been hurt now.
I can see that line of thinking. To be fair,
it's just when it happens over and over again, and you've got a fantastic jockey like Sean Levy, who, you know, perhaps he's been forced to overthink a few little things because the horse is not as straightforward as people are giving credit for. And I know Connections and Sean Levy would never say that because they'd never want to put that onto the horse. But I just wonder, therefore, Declan's, the argument could be made in this race. He's actually the most solid proposition out of all of them.
Yeah.
So why would I therefore not be with him at a fair price or the without market as well? So Declan's back over his favourite course and distance once again for me. Now we're going to move on to the 405, the aforementioned Group 1 Champions Stakes for the 3-year-olds and over the 10 furlongs. So this is the feature race. We get the rematch, the butting of heads between Ombudsman and Delacroix. Plus we have King George Hero, again, aforementioned Calandagan splitting the difference in here. So, I mean, Dec, what a race we have here.
This is just insane. Like, I would pay to go to Ascot tomorrow if they held one race and this was it.
Yeah.
Like, this is just...
And your family would let you?
Yeah, and my family would let me, exactly. This is just incredible. Like, you've got a horse like Fox Legacy, really progressive sort. I think he's officially rated 116 at 20 to 1. Like, this is just a proper race. And, you know, I think Ballydoyle and Godolphin have got pacemakers in there as well. So we should have a good, clean contest as well. Let the horse on the front end do their job. And, you know, may the best horse win. Yeah, this is a cracker. I'm really looking forward to it.
Who are you going to be with?
Oh, God. I just think Ombudsman is better than these.
Yeah.
I really do. And I think the Gosdens deserve an awful lot of credit with how they handled him. They didn't rush him last year as a 3-year-old. You know, he was said to be quite immature physically and maybe mentally as a 2-year-old, didn't race. And, you know, he came back in the Brigadier Gerard under a penalty where he was well backed and he was beaten, but he needed the run that day, and it put the finishing touches to him this day in the Prince of Wales. And look at this nightmare run. Absolutely criminally bad traffic problems, and he still overcomes it, while good old Anmat had a nice clean run down the outside, and he's gone and quickened past Anmat like he's standing still and bolted up. Now, I know what the viewers are saying. Yes, Delacroix did beat him in the Eclipse at Sandown, but, you know, that was a really quick turnaround. This was a race run at a strong gallop on quick summer ground. The time was good, and when horses have those kind of races, it leaves a mark. And I just thought, in a messy race in the Eclipse, you know, it just took the edge off him. Then he had, I think it was maybe 46 days off going to the Juddmonte, another messy race, but how good was he again there? And, you know, Delacroix, I thought, compared to him, had the run of the race to a degree, because he only sat a length behind him. He had cover the whole way. William Buick was sat one outside the Japanese horse, no cover the whole way. He switched off, and boy, did he quicken in the straight. Thank God he got past Castle, because he would have had another pacemaker winning one of our flagship races of the season. And, you know, that form, I thought he probably ran to around 127, 128. That is the standard setter in this race. I probably think Calandagan's got the second strongest form behind City of Troy. I think I had 1-2-5 for him in the Juddmonte, and then Delacroix I think I've got on 1-2-3 for what he'd done in the Eclipse. I think it's just a case of Ombudsman is a better horse than Delacroix, and I just think it's a case of Ombudsman is a quicker horse than Calandagan. So I'm hoping he can maybe potentially finish out his career on a high note here, because he's a proper horse, and we've got two potential superstars running tomorrow, and he is one of them, along with Field of Gold.
Definitely so. Cannot wait for this. The butting of heads between these
so good.
two.
If the family come near me when this race is on,
please, Rick's family, please annoy him during this, because we'll never hear the end of it. But Sam, what a race we have in store.
This, for me, I will be shocked, won't we, if this doesn't become sort of race of the season. We've got the ground, we've got the contenders, we've even got pacemakers as well, which, I'm sure some people don't like to see, but we know why they're there. The supporting cast is strong and of interest, but from a betting perspective, I can't have any but someone in the front three winning it. Economics, be great to see him back, but I think that's all I'm expecting. Almeric, who was a winning nap for me last time out, I thought could be a bit overpriced at 22 to 1, but I can't make an each way play when I think the front three will fill the first three positions in the betting. So we can park that idea right there. At the prices, Delacroix for me is a little bit insulted at around that sort of 3 to 1, 7 to 2 mark.
Mr. Tabor in the office today.
I'm sure he's jetting over for tomorrow to watch, hopefully, Delacroix win this race, Rixie. Because I think people are forgetting that he's obviously that little bit younger. He gets a little bit of weight concession as well. But, you know, depending on how you view ratings, he's rated 126. I like the fact as well that obviously Christoph Soumlian was on him the last day at the Curragh as well. So, Leopardstown, I should say. Obviously victorious that day. Probably wasn't his best work that day, but he got the job done nonetheless. He has got the better of Ombudsman before. Now, I know the race at Sandown, plenty of people would suggest perhaps it was the Ryan Moore magic that kind of got him over the line that day. And it was a bit of a messy affair, wasn't it? I think it's fair to say with what went on. But he, for me, is what I really want to see a 3-year-old take this contest. We've seen them do it in the past. I think, hopefully, if you took that Derby run out, if that didn't happen, I don't think people have forgiven him enough for what happened in the Derby, because the remainder of the season, I think he has been outstanding. And that York race, I don't know. I still don't think we've quite got the answer, have we? But at the prices, Delacroix for me, I think he can upset the front two in the betting and put up a huge performance for Aidan O'Brien on Champions Day.
Yeah, to be fair to Sam, I went back and watched the replay again of the Juddmonte last night. I'm not sure Delacroix was at his best that day for whatever. He was quite cold early and Moore was squeezing him, you know, and there wasn't a strong gallop. A horse like him should have been able to travel easy there, so I can definitely see that. You know, they haven't met each other when they've been at the peak of their powers, have they, Delacroix and Ombudsman? And hopefully that will be the case tomorrow.
Oh, like I said, that will just be the perfect crescendo then, won't it? If both of these two are at their highest, to take each other on and we finally get to decide who actually is the best of the best out of those two.
But more importantly, are you joining me or Sam here?
No, I'm going to split the difference. Calandagan, would you believe?
You've gone on a minute now. You've gone with Calandagan now.
Honestly, my toxic relationship with Calandagan continues. So I'm with him here, so he'll probably bomb out now. But he's such a funny horse, isn't he? Because, of course, it was well documented. I was making the case, even after his penultimate success, the fact that I didn't know whether or not he put everything in. I just doubted whether he actually had the attitude to go through and show his obvious ability that he's got. However, I will hold my hands up. I got it completely wrong in the King George. I was saying this case beforehand, siding against him, even on the back of Son Clua's success there, where he beat Aventure, who I adore. However, this was perfect. Now, of course, there was no 3-year-old representation in this year's renewal. That was for the first time since 2015 in the King George. However, Calandagan, his performance on the figures still would have been good enough to have won recent renewals of the King George anyway, reversing the form with Jan Bruegel from the Coronation Cup in the process as well. And that was a steady pace that day. So I am not perturbed by the drop back in trip for him at all. I think quicker ground, he's got such a good turn of foot as well. I actually think that this will suit Calandagan again.
I think that's the key to him. Even though he's French horse, we sometimes kind of pigeonhole the French horses, wanting cut in the ground. This guy, I think, wants it like the old tarmac there in Heathrow, doesn't he?
Yeah, he really does. So, yeah, I think fair enough. We've all got one of the three top of the market here, all with different cases made, but it's just one of those races.
Q Economics bouncing back.
I know, wouldn't he just? Exactly that. Oh, cannot wait. I'm pleased that one of us has got a vote for each of those top 3 at the market, because I was toying with this race. I was all over the shop, so I'm just pleased that we've got one of each, and I cannot wait to see the race.
And then if we all lose, we can just go, it was a great race. Horse racing's the winner.
Horse racing is the real winner. Racing cliches. There you go. We need to start noting these down. But again, do let us know who wins for you as we move on to the final race, the Balmoral. Nice, easy one to finish off with at 4:40. 3-year-olds and over a mile. So super competitive as always. Now, I'm going to kickstart us with this one with a little bit of Tracey's Trends. Now, not to toot my own horn or anything, but of course it did find us the winner last year with Carry the One on Tracey's Trends. So we're going to look back at a few of these. Now, I've gone back through the last 7 winners, noting the key trends that I tend to focus in on. So this is what it revealed. 3 of the last 7 were aged 4. 6 of the last 7 rated between 102, 109. 4 of the last 7 single figure draw, but of course, as you said, Rick C, the soft ground caveat to most of those. 6 of the last 7 were held up. 4 of the last 7 ran well or won the 7 Furlong Challenge Cup on their last start. 14 days, therefore, since the latest outing is optimal. And also 6 runs in a season is also perfect. Now, I haven't had this before, well, at least not for a very, very long time, or nothing that came to the top of my mind. Native Warrior ticks every single one of those boxes. I can't tell you how rare that is. then he finds himself at the head of the market. So I'm almost annoyed the fact that I haven't found a lurker from all of those trends. However, obviously, I'm also buoyed by that. The fact that he won the key trial race last time out in the Challenge Cup. He looks as though he's still got plenty more to offer as well. And we saw this because this was on the back of an £8 rise that he had for his course and distance win the prior month. Now, this took his straight track record at Ascot to 3rd, 1st and 1st. Straight away after this run, he was put in as the 6-1 favourite for the Balmoral. He just looks a perfect type on the trends to back this up. Now, the other horse who actually finishes behind him, finishing 4th, who's a much bigger price than Native Warrior, is Great Acclaim. So I've got to have him for an each-way alternative to Native Warrior in this. However, I am more than willing to side with both of those two. So, Sam, you're going to agree with me on the trends or not?
Yeah, I waved the white flag when it came to this race, Kate, because I thought, oh, it's so competitive. How can we get Native Warrior beat? And then I saw you request and you put in our WhatsApp group your trends to make up that graphic. And I thought, Kate's right, I fear. I think it's going to be really, really hard to see Carl Burke's horse beat here, which says something for the quality of the horse when you think about the depth of this race. I'm always intrigued by what David O'Meara's got for this race, but traditionally, again, we're used to that softer ground, which we're not going to have. So from my point of view, I am a Native Warrior fan, and I'll be secretly cheering for it because obviously we never want a favourite to win here at BV Towers.
No, you never do, but glad that you managed to park that in exchange for Tracey's trends and agreement in which as well. Rixie, jump on board the TT bandwagon.
Well, I think one of the key trends there you said was that 6 of the last 7 were drawn in single figures.
Yes.
Now, we're going to have to see what way the track is riding at Ascot on Saturday. You know, we'll have the QE2 beforehand. We'll maybe have a little bit of a look in with the sprint and just see where the jockeys are racing. I thought on pace it was a really trappy race because I thought the pace was on either wing.
Yeah.
So, and there's going to be lots of jockeys and horses scrambling to get cover up that straight mile. So it could turn out to be a really messy race. And the 2 horses that I liked were drawn middle to low, which isn't ideal maybe because that's when the ground is soft, you want them to be drawn low. So we'll have to see how the race pans out. But I'll give you 2 horses in here. Ariseg, I'm once more unto the breach, dear friend. We're going back with her. The boy Spencer is on, which it really catches the eye. And I just wanted to take on a lot of the horses to the front of the market there. I don't really like a lot of the horses. I think the Fav could be beaten because he's going up in trip and on quicker ground. But this is Ariseg at the start of the season, running over course and distance. And, you know, I thought Callum Shepherd gave her a little bit too much to do on this day, but you know, a lot of her form says she's maybe a little bit better around the bend. She does go well at Goodwood, but she does have plenty of gears and a change of gear, and I don't see an awful lot of pace in terms of this turning into an end-to-end gallop. So if Spencer can get her switched off and just not sit too far out of her ground in a race that mightn't be well run, I think she will go well at a big price. And thanks for bringing the betting back up here. You know, Native Warrior up and trip, quicker ground. Crown of Oaks, I just haven't got the buzz with him, if I'm being honest. Shout was deadly last time out over this course and distance, but that was on proper soft ground. 5th column has had plenty of running, and 3-year-olds tend not to go too well in this race, so I just kept going further and further down. So I've given you Ariseg. I'll also give you Tribal... Tribal Chief, there we go, at a big price. I don't know what it was there, but I've seen 40 to 1 about David Munissier's horse. That run 2 starts back at Goodwood, where he beat Treble T, who went on to bolt up in his next start at Doncaster. That form is strong. He did disappoint last time out in not the Cesarewitch, Cambridgeshire, thank you very much.
You mark it right.
The Cambridgeshire, but I think he was drawn on the wrong side. If he bounces back to the form of the Goodwood race, he will not go off at 40 to 1.
Oh, okay. Nice price as well.
Yeah.
You know what it is, though, what I think, and obviously it makes sense, therefore, for the softer ground, why the low draws are suited when we move into the autumn.
Go on.
Is because of the shadow of Ascot, of the grandstand itself, because when you actually are there and you're there early enough in the morning, you see the way that the shadow falls longer on the higher draws and the sun beats down on where the lower draws will be on the far side far sooner, so it dries out that part. But again, that also makes sense if it's on softer ground, therefore, as well. But that's kind of my theory, anyway, as to why.
A bit of architecture thrown in there.
A bit of architecture, a bit of weather. Who knows what I'm talking about? But anyway, it sounded okay at that point. Anyway, different selections there for the Balmoral. Do let us know in the comments section below your own sections. But our best bets of the weekend is up next. Right, the all-important part, our best bets of the weekend. Rixie, you're up first.
Right, it becomes no surprise that all three bets are going to come at Ascot tomorrow. I didn't even look at any other cards, to be honest.
Not even have it?
No, absolutely not. Wash your mouth out, Kate Tracey. Yeah, you know, what are you doing if you're not having a couple of bets at Ascot tomorrow? Really looking forward to it. It's Champions Day for a reason, and I think Ombudsman is a champion, so he's going to be the nap for me. I just think he's going to get it done. I think he's better than Delacroix. He's got course and distance form, and I think he's quicker than Calandagan, the son of Knight of Thunder, to cap off a brilliant season for me. He will do as the nap. The next best, I tied with putting in Field of Gold, but I couldn't put you off him at 2-1, especially if the vibes about him are good. But right, once more, I'm going to go with Rosalian. In terms of collecting a bet anyway, I'm going to go Rosalian without Field of Gold is going to be the next best. You know, I think the race sets up really well for him. He's going to get some pace to run at. The good ground is going to suit. He's been wonderfully consistent the whole year. And, you know, if Field of Gold does have an off day, I would love for him to finish his season on a real high. And then we're going to go to the Balmoral Handicap for the long shot. That's going to be Arisaig, hoping the boy Spencer can pull off a bit of Spencer magic on the straight course there. We don't know yet if the low draw is going to be a positive or a negative, so you know it could turn out to be a really bad bet if that's the way the track is riding. But I just think she's handicapped to win. She's got course form, and you know I don't see an awful lot of pace in the race. She's definitely got the years to put herself into a good position here and hopefully go on and win. For the Johnsons, who also took this race a couple of years ago. So yeah, those are the three best bets for me on what will be a wonderful day on Sky Sports Racing.
Beautifully teed up as well. Sam, your own best bets.
Yeah, I am going to head to the same race for my nap as Declan and go head-to-head because Delacroix, for me, I think this horse, put a big, strong statement out here. I can't see this horse being the third priced in the betting. I think it at least goes off second favourite, if not favourite. I think that's a good price to be taking. About a 3-year-old who can hopefully serve it up to the older horses here and confirm that form. I still don't think we've seen Ombudsman versus Delacroix in a fair fight. I'm looking forward. I know it's obviously one apiece. I'm looking forward to seeing who comes out on top there. Hopefully not Calandagan. Division for me is going to be my next best. I think this is just a price dictated thing for the new 2-year-old race at Ascot. You've got a Godolphin favourite who could take all the beating, but odds on, I think gives us a really strong price about a horse that has only had one defeat, and that came on debut and just getting bumped out the stalls at Windsor, has since sort of gone through the ranks nicely. And I do think watching back the York effort, there's more to come from William Haggis's horse. A really nice 2-year-old by Kingman, who will probably be better over further in time as well. The ground will suit. 5-1's a great price. And then my long shot, which I'm annoyed has already ended up 28-1, but we're still 4 places on the race, I suppose. So a 66-1 would have been a lot nicer about Carl Spackler, who for me, does need to take another step forward. But I just feel convinced that the fact that the Gosden's now trained the horse, he's had a period of time in the UK. I'm happy to put a line through Goodwood. And I don't think that 6th Ascot that we saw earlier on in the show in the Queen Anne is a poor reflection on the horse. It was first run in the UK. The good ground will help as well. So those are my 3. Best of luck to everybody getting involved this weekend. Don't forget that sign-up offer that's available on the ATR app and, of course, on the Ascot microsite as well. I wish everyone the best of luck. Have a fantastic Champions Day. I'm really excited about being there. I'll be doing the Market Movers live on Sky Sports Racing before racing.
Oh, perfect. Looking forward to that as well. And the plug of the offer, he's ever the pro, isn't he? Yeah. But butting heads with you, though, for the nap. Cannot wait to see us. I'm so glad that you are. I'm not going to row in with Calandagan, though, as my own nap, because I'm actually going to go to the Balmoral for my nap. How could I not, though, when I've got a horse that ticks every single one of my trends boxes? When it found me the winner of last year's Balmoral with Carry the One, hopefully Native Warrior will double up for me as well. I know he's a 9-2 favourite in a Balmoral. However, as I said, rarely do I have a horse that actually manages to tick every single box. Winning the key trial race of the 7 Furlong Challenge Cup Heritage Handicap last time out, he just looks an ideal type to go on and win again over the straight track at Ascot. Docklands is going to be my next best bet at 12-1. I just feel like I must have missed something. Why no one else seems to be fancying him. Also in the without market at about 17-2 at the time of recording as well. Also looks a good bet. Do I think he's good enough to beat an on-song Field of Gold? No, but he's already beaten Rosalian in the Queen Anne Field of Gold also has to bounce back from last time out. So as I was making the case earlier on, the argument could be made that Docklands is actually the most solid proposition in the lineup. And Great Acclaim, also in the Balmoral, is going to be my long shot, who actually finished 4th in the aforementioned Challenge Cup last time out. Now, he ticks the second most trends boxes for me. His rating perhaps just isn't quite lofty enough, being 100. However, he's only £2 off the bottom rate for the trends that I really wanted for the official rating. He's the right age and he also ran well last time out, so he cannot be forgotten about. So really looking forward to the weekend action. They are our best bets ahead of Saturday. So Rixie, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank
Sam,
you.
enjoy tomorrow as well. Thank you so much for beaming in. Really looking forward to it. And the three of us are going to be on location next week. We're being released into the wild, Rixie. God help everyone at Newbury Racecourse.
The lunatics have left the asylum. We'll be on track at Newbury next Friday, which is really exciting. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, really looking forward to that. So make sure to stay tuned. Best of luck with your bets this weekend and we'll speak to you again very soon.